Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Alex. Welcome to another episode of the Long 2 NBA podcast. I'm with my co-host, Seth.
Hello. Nathan's not here today.
Yeah, Nathan's not here today because he had to work or something like that. But
or something.
I have no idea. I assume work.
Right.
He was like, can't make it today, bro. Sorry. So, whatever.
Yeah.
Let's see. A lot of good stuff has happened in the past week. We try to do these once a week, and I can't wait to talk about some of this, especially the Nick Collison jersey retirement.
You got some words?
Nothing bad. It's just I think it's hilarious. But we'll get to that later. And then Kyrie Irving made some interesting comments over the last couple of games because the Celtics have been. It's been a roller coaster year, and lately they've had some turbulence. So we'll
definitely.
Yeah. So we'll get to that, and then we'll talk about the Bulls, the Mavs looking to trade Dennis Smith Jr. and DeMarcus Cousins coming back and what that's going to mean and how we think it'll pan out, you know?
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and get right into it. Actually, before we do that, quick announcement. We are both on the injury reserve.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I had to get stitches in my right thumb because I cut it at work like an idiot.
Yeah,
it's pretty bad.
Sources say he'll be out of the game for
5 to 10 days, something like that.
5 to 10 days?
Yeah, I put a dumb tweet out. ESPN sources.
Yeah. And for me, I won't explain how it happened, but I do think, I don't think it's a sprain, but there's definitely soreness, and it's been hard to walk for a while. But right ankle injury, might be out for, say,
a couple weeks.
Week and a half.
Week and a half, yeah. Also, thank you guys for close to 2,500 subscribers. We're about halfway to the goal for this year, so thank you for that. And let's go ahead and get right into it now. All right, Kyrie Irving. Post-game comments after the pretty bad loss to the Magic because they were leading by double digits for most of the game, and then they gave up like a lot of points, I think, like at the end of the third. I didn't watch the game, but I saw that they were leading, and I was like, okay.
Right.
And then I looked at it was fourth quarter, and they were down 2 with like a second to go, and I was like, oh.
No, there were a lot of like close games recently that should not have been close.
And they lost to the Nets last night too, and I don't know what the problem is with them. But let me pull up the comments that he made.
Yeah, it's probably good to directly.
Yeah, so he said, so this was after the Magic game. He said, the young guys don't know what it takes to be a championship level team, what it takes every day. And if they think it is hard now, what do they think it will be like when we're trying to get to the finals? Kyrie continued with, there were no expectations last year. Everyone played free and easy. Everyone surpassed whatever they expected for themselves. This year, we all have high expectations. The players, the coaches, everyone. And that's good, but we aren't doing it yet. Kyrie ended with, we can get there. We've got to be better. I've got to be better. We need to win these games on the road. That's on me as a leader. I need to be a better leader and to help us get there. That's basically everything he said.
Right. I do like how he didn't just throw it all on the young players.
Yeah, he put some of it on himself.
Responsibility for some of what's going on.
Yeah.
Even though, he's probably one of the most clutch players in the league.
Easily.
Yeah.
I'd say he's the best.
Yeah. I mean, somewhat. I'm not saying he isn't. It's just I'd really have to list. I've never.
Yeah, there's so many clutch players, but and I really don't understand what the problem is. Actually, I do, because they have all these talented players, especially from last year, who have had to see a decrease in their role and their minutes and whatnot compared to how they performed in the playoffs last year. That's got to be a hard thing to do.
Right.
Is to know how much you contributed last year and then to try to accept that you have to play a much lesser role for the benefit of the team.
Yeah.
And that's what they've struggled with.
You have to combine to win. You can't. It's not like individual, statistics. I remember, Tatum at the beginning of the season, it was long 2 city.
Yeah, thank God he kind of chilled on that, because I saw somebody's bio on Twitter today. It said long 2s are the enemy. It made me laugh. That was pretty funny. But yeah, it's a good thing he's kind of, working out with Kobe Bryant. You expect him to take these shots. I remember watching a breakdown of his game, and Kobe was pointing out mid-range jumpers that he could take. What's that series? Detail.
Detail.
Yeah, it was in that, and that was during the playoffs last year, and I didn't really think much of it. But then when he really started taking a lot of long 2s this year, it was like, oh, geez. But what I was going to say is, working out with Kobe Bryant, he's probably not going to tell you to not take them, you know, because that
Right.
that was Kobe's game.
That'd be very hypocritical of
Yeah.
him to be like, "Nah, that's a bad shot."
Yeah,
Be like,
exactly.
Not for me though.
Right, not for me though. So I guess we should have seen that coming. I guess I don't know,
Right.
but I feel like that's why players work out with each other today, is because they're in the modern NBA, and
Right.
you know they're gonna try to replicate what each other do to a certain degree, and then try to
Yeah.
add stuff to their own arsenal.
Right.
I don't
It's just
know.
building off each other.
And that's why Giannis doesn't want to work out with
yeah,
other
'cause he's
people.
like, I don't want to show what I'm doing
exactly.
to everyone else.
Yeah. So back to the Kyrie thing. Do you think this is a big deal? Like him? Do you think this would change anything for the Celtics?
Well,
His
there's
comments?
been a lot of underground drama. Like I remember, I'm sure you saw the video in the dark when Jaylen Brown and Marcus Morris got into it.
Oh
a little bit.
yeah. When they had to be separated
Yeah,
in
they
the
had to
huddle
be
in the
separated.
timeout.
It wasn't
yeah.
a huge flare-up, but you
Yeah.
saw there was some tension there.
There was some attitude. Yeah.
And right now, the locker room presence doesn't seem like it's in a great place right now.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not devastated or anything, but
Right.
there does.
So there's
seem to be
definitely some
issues.
tension and some behind the scenes issues, like you just said.
Right.
But I guess that's what comes with any good team. It's not all going to be like the road to success isn't all sunshine and roses.
Right. And
you
the
know?
Warriors have talked about, there was a lot of stuff they were holding back from, the public eye.
Yeah, that never got leaked.
Yeah, and everyone's thinking, oh, they're the perfect team.
Yeah.
So OP and
Yeah, but every team's got their disagreements between players and
struggles
little
and-
flare-ups.
Right. We saw that with KD and Draymond.
Yeah, we've seen it a lot
Yeah.
with a lot of teams, but
seen it
nowadays it just gets blown out of proportion. It seems like, and then the players downplay it, and then sometimes nothing ever comes up of it again. But Kyrie did apologize, saying he was sorry for publicly criticizing his teammates, and he
Did
won't
some
do that
damage
again.
control there.
Yeah, and he's like, I won't do that again. I just want to win really badly, so my emotions kind of came out. That's basically what he said.
But that's what you want from a leader.
Exactly.
That is exactly what you want from a leader, and that's why I'm glad Kyrie. I didn't think he needed to issue an apology because, like I said, it's not like he was just throwing it all on the young guys, saying they don't work hard, blah blah blah.
Not like Jimmy Butler. Wasn't not like General Soreness. Because that's what he did.
I mean, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, but I do like how you mentioned earlier how he put being the leader on himself.
Yeah, he put the emphasis on both the fact that he needs to step up, but also his teammates as well need to step up.
And when he asked for that trade from Cleveland about a year and a half ago now, he asked for this to be the leader of his team.
Right.
Because LeBron was the leader of the Cavs when he was on there. So this is the first time he's really experienced having to be the true leader of a team. And I think it's working for him. Like, he's realizing now. I think that apology was more...
You think LeBron's just sitting somewhere, like legs crossed with a glass of wine, like, how does it feel?
Right? Probably, because he was upset that he left in the first place, so that he asked for a trade. Technical difficulties. The lamp is acting up. Give me 1 second.
Do you just need to change the bulb, or is it the lamp itself?
There's some kind of short in it. I really don't know. Anyway, apologies. Lost my train of thought. Kyrie. Oh yeah, I think the apology that he issued was more to say sorry to his teammates for doing that, rather than to apologize to the media.
And he's just saying, I should have kept it in the locker room, which there's a point to that, but for people like us, it's awesome to see that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
For him to say those things out in the open, he's fine with, saying those things publicly and being like, it's not. But sorry, I'm trying to word this, but like you said, a lot of people try to downplay issues like this.
Yeah.
And franchises are like, no, keep it on the down low.
Yeah.
And Kyrie is just like, no, this is what's happening. This is what needs to improve.
Yeah. And you like to see that from a player as the leader.
Yeah, exactly.
And
not every player has to publicly say these things.
Right.
I'm just saying it's cool to know that that's really how he feels, and that I could tell he just wants to win so bad.
Yeah, that's what he said. He wants to win really badly, and sometimes your emotions come out. Like we saw with the Morris and Jaylen Brown thing, their emotions came out because you've got so much talent, but it's hard to figure out who needs to sacrifice what for the greater good of the success of the team.
Right.
And that's what they're really trying to figure out. That's what it comes down to. Because they're a really good team, and that's why I think come playoffs they're going to be fine. It's been half a season, and I think we were kind of foolish to expect this, or at least I was, to expect them to just gel right away and be a 60-win team, because that's what I had predicted at the start of the season.
Right.
And it's obvious that's not going to happen, you know, at least the 60 wins part. They could still very well get to the finals. It's just the road would have been rocky. And I was expecting it to be smooth. I didn't really take into account how much growing and sacrifice there would have to be made, and there might be times where they struggled, you know, and that's exactly what we've seen. But again, as I keep saying, I think they're going to be fine. It's just a matter of, I think it all falls on Kyrie's shoulders, because he's got to be the leader, and they also as a collective unit have to figure out what sacrifices have to be made, and a lot of that is also Brad Stevens' job to figure out the lineups and the minutes and all that stuff. So,
and that's the thing,
there's just a lot of moving parts
Brad
here.
Stevens hasn't, as far as what I've seen, I don't think he's been catching too much flack for what's been going on.
Yeah,
but because he's really been trying to switch out the rotations and just change the minutes, you know, try to find what works.
Yeah, and it's not like the Celtics are a bad team by any means. You know, they're still, like, the East is very top heavy, right?
Oh yeah.
And their record is 25-18. That's still a pretty good record for a playoff team,
right?
You know?
But what are they listed as far as rank right now?
They're 5th seed, you know, which is underperforming as far as knowing what talent they have on that roster, because they should be 30 and something. You know, just like the Raptors and the Bucks are. They both have 30 wins. So
and that's the thing. I think going into that, like, as far as the East goes, maybe there was this idea of, oh, it'll be easy, because they're, like you said, the East is very top heavy. Yeah. It's not very balanced. But a lot of these teams that seem to be, you know, just kind of flops have started to step up, like the Nets.
Yeah,
you know,
I really like what the Nets have been doing.
Like, well, I'm not saying just exclusively East, but just a lot of teams in general, you know, have upped their game, like Nets, Clippers, and a bunch and a bunch of other teams that were considered very just mediocre, below 500 teams. That
a lot of teams have flipped the script on the media for, you know, leaving them out of the playoffs or whatever.
Right.
And a lot of teams have started to establish winning culture and have really developed players really well. Player development has been huge over the last 2 seasons. But let's get back onto the Celtics. What do you think as far as, like, do you think they'll figure it out?
It's not hard to say.
How long until you make a trade to try to?
I'd say a full season at the very least.
Try to see what happens this season,
right, and if it really starts to crumble down, you know, at the end of the season, and something crazy happens in the postseason, you know, granted they get there,
they're definitely going to get there. There's no way they won't make it. I think they're going to get to the finals regardless.
You think so?
It just depends how early they play Toronto.
I'm not so sure they're going to make it to the finals.
That's my prediction, is that they could get there, but I'm not, like, excluding the Bucks or the Raptors. It'll definitely be it have to be a hard-fought victory to win a playoff series against one of those. It's just I think when it comes down to it, I think the Celtics just have, like, because considering what they did last year without their 2 best players, assuming they get things sorted out for the most part by the time the playoffs come, as far as, you know, whose role needs to be what, I think they'll get there by that time, and then I don't think they'll be. What am I trying to say? I don't think they will lose in the playoffs, at least until they face Golden State in the finals. But also, it'll be a very hard battle.
They'll just like boost their game to like play it like it'll be a playoff level, and
that team is
playoff Kyrie and playoff Tatum, playoff Terry Rozier.
Sure, I guess I don't want to say playoff Rozier, playoff Tatum. I get what you're saying, though.
But they were stars in that role when those players were out.
It's just those roles have diminished. Quite a bit, especially for Terry Rozier.
Right, and to have that expectations of last year when the roster was very different.
Right. I just think
not super different, but, you know, with injuries and things, you know, I think it's a very different culture that's there right now.
Yeah.
And like we've talked about, it's kind of rough at the moment.
I just think they're going to start clicking right when they need to. Right, like...
You think when push comes to shove, they're going to lock in
the last quarter of the season, the last 20 games or so, I think that's when they're going to really start to click as a whole unit. Like, they're going to gradually build up to that point, but then once they get there, those last 20 games or so, they're going to be the team we expected them to be, and then come playoffs, they're going to also be the same team that I expected them to be. But it wouldn't surprise me at all if the Raptors beat them, or maybe even the Bucks, just because they've already figured things out and have been practicing, contending for championship team habits all season, which the Celtics haven't necessarily done because they're still a couple steps behind those two teams. So it wouldn't really surprise me at all if they lost, but I would also be a little like, really? Because if you look at the Celtics on paper, they're, as far as talent-wise, they've got arguably the most in the league from top to bottom.
Right.
And the lamp is going off again. I'm not even going to bother with it.
Yo, go off,
actually,
lamp.
You know what? I will bother with it, because it's going to bother me. Dude, it's so bummy. I'm not even going to edit this out either, because it's not even worth it.
This is why I keep asking, like, is it the light bulb or is it the actual lamp itself?
I'm pretty sure it's the actual lamp, because...
Well, when was the last time you changed the bulb? Well, if you can't remember, then maybe you need to change it.
Maybe it is the bulb. I don't know. Whatever. But yeah, that's my opinion on the Celtics. I hope I don't sound dumb for saying this, because
no. I mean, that's the whole point of like what we do, and everybody else who does these podcasts and hot takes or middle of the line takes is that it's guessing, it's educated assumption, but you make of it what you've seen so far, and you just try to give people an idea. It's like, well, I think this is going to happen because this, and this. And
I remember back in, I think it was 2010, when the Celtics made it all the way to the finals. They looked mediocre all season, and they I only think they won 50-something games, like low 50s, and they made it all the way to the finals. But they lost in 7 to Kobe's Lakers, but still. That's kind of how I see this going. You look not mediocre all season, but you have a lot of ups and a lot of downs. I just feel like that's kind of how this is going to go.
Right.
Because I feel like they're built for the playoffs.
I feel that too.
Because once you get a shorter rotation, it becomes easier for players to have more minutes and a bigger role come playoff time.
Right.
I don't know. That's just my take on it. But as far as
I mean, I can't say I like 100% agree, because like I said, I'm not totally on board with them, getting to the finals, because again, they have to go through Raptors.
Right now, I'm not on board with them. Right now,
but you think?
I think by that time, I think that's what'll happen.
They'll make that progression, step up.
Yeah. If the playoffs started today, they wouldn't beat the Raptors, in my opinion.
No,
not today. I just mean by the end, when everything is once the end of the regular season is upon us. By that time, I think. But I hope I'm not wrong. I really don't care if I'm not wrong, because I'm not like a Celtics fan or anything. Kyrie Irving is one of my favorite players, and it's just interesting to me, this whole dynamic that's going on with the Celtics.
Right, because I don't think anyone really saw this coming.
It would be disappointing if they were bounced in the second round, to me.
Right.
Like, I'd love to see them play Golden State in the finals, mainly for the Steph and Kyrie battle on the biggest stage.
Right, that would be
we've seen it before, but Steph was kind of injured or whatever, and the game winner in Game 7 from Kyrie Irving, like, that was one of the greatest final series of all time. So I'd like to see it again, but on different teams, or at least Kyrie on a different team. So you got any other thoughts on this whole thing? Like,
no.
when do you think they'll even start clicking at all?
That's the thing. If you do, I can't really tell right now.
Yeah.
And like you said, the talent level is there. It's just whether or not they can get it to mesh.
Yeah. That's their biggest problem, is trying to figure out what sacrifices need to be made in order to win. And I've never played in the NBA, and I've never been a star player in the NBA, so I don't know.
Right.
How do you tell in the locker room, hey, look, you need to sacrifice such and such in order for the rest of us to do this? That's all for them to figure out look at the mirror and ask yourself, what do I need to do to help us win? Do I need to come off the bench? Do I need to start? Do I need to score a lot? Do I not? Like,
it starts with
that much.
Sacrifice.
Yeah, exactly. With that much talent of guys who are really good for the most part, you got to figure it out somehow.
Right.
And it's just hard to, like, when you're talented, that's got to be a hard pill to swallow, to be like, I have to take a step back
Yeah.
in order for Kyrie to do his thing or for Tatum to score this many a night. You know, it's I imagine that's a really hard thing to try to do.
And you hope, you know, no one catches, you know, a big head and thinks it's like, well, I'm too good for this.
Yeah, trade me, right? Like that
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
thing. I feel like the Celtics are going to make a deal, though.
You think so?
I think so, because I think the way things are going right now, if they make a deal and trade away two of the guys who they know are kind of struggling in their role, like maybe Rozier and maybe Brown, for we've talked about this before, like Bradley Beal or somebody like that, I think that would make things go smoother quicker than if you try to have things go the way they are now. I feel like it would take longer if you keep things the way they are than if you make a trade. I think it would just happen quicker. Like, you'd still have to reintegrate whoever you trade for into the offense. I just think that would be easier than trying to integrate 2 or 3 other young, talented players. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I understand.
So,
but I think we've covered all our bases on that.
yeah, let's go ahead and move on to let's talk about the Clint Capela injury, because that's a pretty big injury for the Rockets.
Big. And I saw the 4 to 6 weeks, and then it said thumb, and I was like, huh?
Yeah, I guess he has some ligament damage in his right thumb.
Yeah.
So he's going to be out, like you just said, 4 to 6 weeks. This is big for the Rockets. In the first game that the Rockets missed him last night, James Harden drops 57 points.
Dude,
this dude is unbelievable.
That was crazy.
We are witnessing something absolutely historic.
Right.
That hasn't been done since Kobe Bryant.
Not to go off topic from the injury, but
right.
I seriously think Harden is one of the most, you know, unstoppable offensive forces in
absolutely.
the league, if not the.
There's nothing you can do.
There's nothing you can do. You just hope he misses.
Exactly.
That's it.
And they got...
There was this one funny clip of who were they playing last night?
They played the Grizzlies.
It was the Grizzlies, and Gasol. I think like they were double teaming him, or like Gasol was supposed to be help. He was playing help defense.
Yeah.
And so he was trying to come over because I think Harden was thinking about cutting to the basket.
Right.
There was this. I can't really show people who are listening to the podcast, but Gasol was like, he was doing this.
He was doing
he was like waving his arm,
like a star, like doing like a star position.
Yeah,
with his
like
hands,
he was
trying to
waving
play
his
defense.
hands, like he didn't know what to do.
That's hilarious.
He had no idea.
Like, what can you do? You know, like he can shoot over anybody. He can make the most ridiculous shots, no matter what defense you put on him. And then he can cut to the basket. And if he's not doing any of that, he can dish a fancy pass to a teammate for an open bucket. Like, I don't know what you do.
Man,
really,
I want to know how many of his assists are like between the legs. That'd be an interesting stat line.
Probably 2 a game. About that.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, let's get back to the Clint Capela part.
Yeah,
so,
sorry.
Yeah, he's really good center. I think he's averaging like 17 and 13.
Yeah, there was like a 2 or 3 game stretch where he had like 20 and 20 type stat line.
Yeah, he's a really good player. And then, you know, they already are without Chris Paul for however much more time. They're already Eric Gordon's day-to-day with the knee injury, and now Clint Capela's out. That's 3 main contributors to your team. Similar with, remember when the Nuggets had all those injuries, and they're starting to come back now. But anyway, it's kind of a similar situation like that, where I remember with the Nuggets, I said they're not going to be able to stay afloat, or at least keep the number 1 seed, which I was wrong. They did, because the guys weren't out as long as I expected them to be. Paul Millsap was not even out for that long, and then Gary Harris was already back. So, but the talent of Jokic and Murray are just, that really helped them. Yeah. And then the bench guys stepped up a lot too. So that's what I said needed to happen for them to stay afloat. I just didn't think it would, because you had a guy who was averaging 3 points per game as your starting shooting guard. Anyways, off topic. But I feel like James Harden is so good that they're still going to keep winning games, especially if he keeps this up, because this is literally, like, watching this reminds me of Kobe Bryant highlights. Like, he would just do this every night like it was nothing.
Right.
And then they would, you know, stay obviously in contention of, you know, home court advantage in the playoffs. So it's just, man, it's like the LeBron situation last year where he had to carry the team all year.
There's injuries. There's not as much talent as he'd like on the team, and he's like, all right, get on my back. We're going.
Right.
Let's go.
Yeah, because I remember they had a lot of talent, at least what it looked like on paper. And then, if you remember on the trade deadline day, they traded like 4 or 5 people away, like Crowder, Isaiah Thomas, Dwayne Wade. They all got traded. Kyle Korver stayed. But anyway, I feel like we might be seeing that. Like, I think the Rockets are going to have to make some trades too. you know, not to that scale, but at least try to trade for some other role players, because I feel like you can upgrade a Daniel House, or you know what I'm saying.
He's doing all right in his role, though.
Yeah, Is
it Danwell, like Manuel, right?
I don't know how you pronounce
Danuel.
it. Something like that. I know it's spelled with a U. I don't know how to pronounce it. Maybe it's
We're not
just
even saying it
Daniel.
right because he's Danuel House Jr. Yeah, he's a junior. But anyways.
And then Tyler Ennis too, or not Tyler Ennis.
Tyler Ennis, the third.
Yeah. Is his name Tyler Ennis? I feel like I just
James Ennis.
James Ennis, that's right.
Right?
Tyler Ennis is somebody else. It is James Ennis.
Okay. Wow. Now I feel really bad. Sorry, James.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's James. Sorry, James. My bad. There's a more important James on your team. Anyways, I feel like they could upgrade those positions. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not. Or maybe they'll get somebody in the buyout market. Who knows?
Right.
But anyway, that's aside the point.
Well, let's be. There's more to talk about with just the Rockets in general than Clint Capela's thumb.
Yeah, I know. It's just he's such a integral part of that. Like their backup is Nene. You know.
Right.
What's Nene gonna do on the offensive end? You know what I'm saying? Not a whole lot. So James Harden is just gonna have to carry this team until these players come back, or at least until Chris Paul gets back. Chris Paul will help a lot because he'll be able to play off ball more.
Who do you think would be a good primary scorer that could play alongside Harden?
I don't know.
That is like legitimately,
like anybody.
No, well, not anybody, but
somebody
legitimately
could happen.
What could happen
in a trade?
Who could be traded for? I was thinking somebody
like a Chris Middleton, like an Eric Gordon, but taller and thinner. Basically, like Eric Gordon's great. I just feel like they could use another player like him, to be in the starting lineup.
What's going on with Tobias Harris?
Tobias Harris, that's a good pick, but he's probably gonna get a pretty decent deal from the Clippers whenever his deal runs out.
But as far as the Clippers definitely need Tobias Harris, but the Rockets need him more.
Right. I wouldn't trade him if I'm the Clippers though. I'm happy with what I got if I'm the Clippers. Plus you got spaces for 2 max contracts. You got to. I'd keep everything I have.
Clippers' future actually looks bright for once.
It really does. It really does. But you got anything else as far as Clint Capela? Like
I hope it's not as long as they're saying it will be. 4 to 6 weeks. I hope it's 4 at the minimum.
Yeah. At most, you mean?
At most.
Once Chris Paul and Eric Gordon get back, I think they'll be more than fine. But I believe in the greatness of James Harden so much, I don't even know if it's really going to matter.
You don't even have to believe in it. It's there.
It's happening, right?
It's happening in front of us.
What I'm witnessing.
And people are just like denying it. I'm like, cool, he had like 18 free throw attempts. But he got that. If anybody else could do it, why aren't they doing it?
Right. That's a good point. And then, but no, I'm just saying, like, witnessing what he's doing right now, I don't even feel like they're going to lose a whole lot of games. Especially because I feel like fatigue might come up eventually.
Right, that's what a lot of people are talking about. Is like, will he just be out of gas completely by playoff time?
Yeah. That's a good question. But as of right now, I believe, like, I'm seeing it, like you just said. So I feel
you can't deny the legitimate results of what's happening.
Yeah, I feel like the greatness of James Harden is going to keep them afloat until those guys get back, and then once they get back, he'll be able to play off ball more and get some rest in, and especially leading up to the playoffs. And then Chris Paul and Clint Capela and Eric Gordon should all be pretty rested come the home stretch of the season. So I feel like this team is going to be more dangerous in the playoffs than I initially thought. I don't know if I want to call them title contenders, but I also kind of do. I feel like they've gotten back to that because the guys that they're playing now in their starting lineup have proven that they can come up, like, in a bench role, they'd be a deep team, right? Because they have some guys who can contribute off the bench. Plus your starters come back, and Gordon's not a starter, but Chris Paul and Capela, and then you get Gordon coming back off the bench. That's and then seeing what James Harden is doing, that elevates them to a whole nother level. So I feel like they could contend. I'm not going to pick them to beat Golden State, or I don't know about Denver. I got to wait to make my predictions to see how the things are looking for all the teams and what the standings are and whatnot. So I'm not going to say anything crazy like, oh, they're going to go to the finals, or they can beat the Warriors. I got to wait to see. But you made a good point about if Harden's going to run out of gas.
Yeah, that would be my concern. Is just how much of this does he have left in the tank right now? It seems like it's not stopping anytime soon.
Right, because he's been doing this for 15, 17 games straight, something crazy, 18.
It's a crazy stretch of games.
Yeah, this is Kobe Bryant-ish. You know, that's all I can describe it as.
Very much Kobe Bryant, and as far as usage, most definitely.
Yeah, and the numbers.
And the numbers and everything.
Crazy. There was the one game.
Assists?
He's still averaging like 8, I think.
No, Harden the assists. I'm saying
Kobe
you're talking
about Kobe. Yeah.
Assists.
Yeah, that's a pretty good way to put it. That's a pretty good way to put it.
Right.
You got anything else?
Oh, this is a tough shot. Toss it to the That's a very Kobe Bryant move. But.
Right. You got any? Yeah. Oh, man. I just thought of something I'm not going to say. I think when I was... Nope. I'm not going to go there.
No?
I'm not going to say what I'm thinking. That Kobe might be
kind
better.
of the point of this.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to say it. This might be... I don't know.
I don't care that you broke your arm.
When all is said and done, no, Harden will not have 5 rings by the end of his career.
I don't know about rings, but he'll have more than 2 MVPs, in my opinion.
I think he'll win it this year. But Harden might be right up there on Kobe's level minus the championships when all is said and done. He might be... Okay. This is like... I can't just say, oh, excluding championships, Harden's going to be better than Kobe. Because that you can't say that, right? Because the 5 rings speak for themselves.
Yeah, of
course. But as far as just talent and greatness goes,
right, and there's so many talented players.
They're going to be on the same level when all is said and done.
Right.
So,
there's so many talented players, you know, who didn't get rings. Steve Nash,
Allen Iverson, Karl Malone, John Stockton. The list goes on.
Yeah, the list goes on with those kinds of players, and you know, nobody denies their greatness. You know, people might, you know, chirp in or come in sometimes like they don't have a ring though.
Yeah,
I'll also charge Charles Barkley. You know, he gets reamed to this day
by
for not
Shaq
having a ring
on inside the NBA on TNT. Yeah, the rings are a team accomplishment, right? But I've said this before that individual greatness of players, like the individual players, have to be great in order for their team to win.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why rings are important. It is a team accomplishment. However, they mean a lot for a player's legacy, especially great ones, because usually, in most cases, they perform, you know, amazingly in the playoffs and in the finals to help their team get those rings rather. So, I just, like I said, I think when all is said and done, Harden will be on Kobe's level. You know, especially he'll probably have 2 MVPs, maybe 3.
I think he's already there, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I think he's already reached that level of.
I just need to see more in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's a completely fair
Harden.
argument. Is, you know, playoff performance. You know, there was definitely some scrutiny from last year's playoffs performance.
But as far as skill and scoring ability and just offensive talent, I think they're right there.
Right. He does definitely have the Kobe mentality of, oh, I just bricked 7 shots. This one's still going in, and I don't care.
He shot 1 for 17 from 3 the other night, which was an NBA record for most 3 points attempted and least makes. So,
but he's still one of the
and then the very next game,
right now.
57 points on like 50% shooting, like more than 50% shooting. And it's just unbelievable what this man has done.
And we're witnessing history right now. And
yes, we are.
Really cool to watch.
Yeah, I think we're in one of the greatest eras of basketball right now.
Yeah,
there might not be a whole lot of defense, but there's still some. There's still defense.
As far as entertainment,
but as far as how
the entertainment
this
factor is all the way up.
Yeah, and just social media has created a whole new element to this also, as far as like memes that are made and whatnot, and just the fun of it, following it all. You know,
right?
It's so great.
Did you like that video of Westbrook pulling up?
Oh, that's so funny.
Clutch
It's like Westbrook pulling up for a clutch airball 3, and he's doing this quick little stutter. It's a kid doing a quick little stutter step, dribbling the ball.
But that's exactly what he does.
But
that's
the
funniest thing. You know he's going to shoot it when he does that.
If y'all have seen the video, you'll know what they're talking about. It's so funny. All right, let's move on here. You got any other thoughts on the Rockets? And one last closing thought for me that I already said, though. Just if I had to make one takeaway from that, it would be that I believe in James Harden because of what he's displayed so far to keep that team afloat and to keep them in the you know, home court advantage, you know, realm.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they get back, I feel like they'll be a really good playoff team. I'm not sure how far they'd get. I'd have to see, you know, how things are at the end of the season, what the standings are, like I said before. But that's what I would say. What about you?
Yeah, again, it's just wait and see type thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's, we're at the halfway point, or a little bit over, right?
Yeah, a little bit, just a little bit
Just
past.
barely.
Probably like
over.
4 or 5 games past the midway.
Right, but we a lot of people thought by this point, okay, we're starting to see contenders. It's still really close in a lot of areas.
Yeah, like I was thinking of a playoff bracket the other day, and I was like, I really don't know who I would pick right now.
It's really hard,
especially in the East. Once you get to the second round, man, even that 4 or 5 matchup, Philly and Boston, like
you don't know.
I don't know who I would say, and I wouldn't be confident in what I say right now. So when we make our playoff predictions podcast a couple months from now, I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna say, or if I'm even gonna be confident in it. So I guess we'll see. All right, so let's move on to our next topic, which is DeMarcus Cousins is returning for the Warriors as their starting center on January 18th against the Clippers, which is this Friday, I believe. What are you expecting? Because he's gonna be starting. He's not coming off the bench. I'm gonna go ahead and say this.
Okay.
I expected Gordon Hayward to somehow just magically be Gordon Hayward when he came back. Like I didn't even think about the time it would take for him to readapt and whatnot.
Right.
And I guess you live in, like you learn from what you say in the past and whatnot. Right. I kind of expected it. Like I said, it would be around All-Star break when he would be himself. But I still expected him to be a productive player. As far as that goes. But for Boogie being, 260 pounds ish, really tall, like Achilles tear. This for me, if I'm learning from my past experience of being wrong, I think it's going to take. I don't even know if he'll be himself by playoffs. Honestly,
you think so?
No,
I
don't think so. I think he'll be a productive version of himself. I just don't think he'll be the Boogie we saw last year.
Yeah, I agree with that somewhat. Again,
I just don't think it'll happen that quickly.
No,
because it's already.
I don't think
he'll
immediately do like a 20-20 game like we were talking about with Capela earlier. It'll be a slow build.
Yeah,
it's good that they're just throwing him into the starting lineup, so that he gets adjusted to that role.
And Steve Kerr has already kind of switched his rotations up a little bit to kind of have the players already adjusted to what type of minutes they're going to play once Boogie comes back.
Who's been starting at center? Is it Looney?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
It hasn't been Bell. It's been Looney, from what I remember.
Looney's been doing a pretty decent job.
Yeah, he's a decent backup center.
Yeah.
And he's been playing well as a starter. So.
Right. And, with how much turnover there is with the Warriors bench, like every season, they have a pretty good bench this season.
Yeah. Like, it's funny. They completely wipe it and then rebuild it.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
And it seems to work out every time.
Yeah.
Or you'll have, like, a Swaggy P who just...
This year you've got, like, a Jerebko and an Alfonso McKinney who came out of nowhere.
Yeah. Jerebko's been doing amazing.
Yeah, Jerebko's been playing really well for
McKinney
him.
had, like, better shooting than Steph at some point. Or he had, like, the best three-point percentage for a while.
Well, let's think about volume.
I know. Trust me, I know.
I know. You're just saying. Yeah. His brother actually was leading the league in percentage for a little bit.
Seth Curry?
Yeah. Seth Curry.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Steph Curry's brother. What was the joke? It was like when they showed Steph Curry at a Portland game to watch his brother. It said Seth Curry's brother instead of Stephen Curry.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I was trying
because he was at his game. And
yeah.
Seth Curry's brother. Man, wow, they look so much alike. I've seen that guy before.
I think he might have done some things in his NBA career. No, but I was trying to make a joke somewhere in there, but I couldn't find a way to do it.
Does he have a dad that is somewhat famous?
Who also played in the NBA? That's hilarious. But anyway, no, I mean, I think DeMarcus is, like I said, he's still going to be productive for him. He just won't be, for one, because of the system, already having other superstars around him. And then two, coming off of a really bad injury. So for those two things, he's not going to have the same numbers, obviously.
Right.
And I don't think he'll be the Boogie we're used to seeing right away. I think it'll take a while. Might even take into next season for him to really, come back.
Yeah.
Or maybe even a little bit longer. Who knows? But he'll have all summer. Well, all summer for the Warriors is like 3 months. But, still. I guess we'll see what happens. Do you got any other thoughts on that?
No, I just, there will definitely be some, hesitation with certain moves that he's going to make. Like we saw with Gordon Hayward at first, making certain plays, landing a certain way.
Yep.
Because, you know, I've definitely done like a recap or like looked over, you know, DeMarcus Cousins' injury, how it happened, the weird way he stepped when he was near that out of bounds area.
Yeah.
And he just, what's crazy is he thought he could get up after a minute, and then it turned out to be Achilles tear. I'm like, dang, he was about to play an Achilles tear off.
Yeah,
like,
man, that's
dude's tough.
Couldn't even stand up. Yeah,
dude is tough.
That is, man. And those non-contact injuries are really scary.
Right.
Because
right.
like it looks like nothing.
It looks like nothing, really, but then you know you figure it out, and then you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, that's bad. Because every time I see a non-contact injury, it makes me nervous. Because it's like this. It doesn't look that bad, but the recovery time and how long you're going to be out for could be really bad sometimes.
Right.
So, because he's missed a year because of it, pretty much. Remember, he missed the postseason last year and like half the regular season, I think, or maybe the last third of it. I don't know. But
I think I was watching. Oh God, if I can remember his YouTube channel. If we could put this guy on the screen, do you remember the doctor that I sent that video of with the Markelle Fultz injury?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't remember his name though.
it?
Yeah.
But I've been watching his stuff, and he does a lot of other different injuries, and he talked about DeMarcus Cousins.
Yeah.
And what was interesting is most of the NBA players who've had that injury that were like, you know, major players like Kobe and stuff had it in their later years, like in their early to mid 30s.
But he's having this in the middle of his prime. Or like start of his prime, depending how you look at it. Right.
So it's a big question: is like, is this the beginning of the, you know, the slowdown, or was like last season the peak?
Yeah.
Is there going to be a drop off? Is he going to succeed? It's just.
I think because he's in the middle of his prime, he'll come back and be fine.
Yeah, and that's what I believe. Like I was saying, it's just that he's young enough to where he might be able to bounce back a lot better and faster than some of these older players.
Yeah, for sure. Because Kobe was like in his 30s, and he was never the same after that.
Oh yeah.
So, but it's different. Obviously, he's younger, but he's also much bigger. Than Kobe ever was. Yeah. So, but yeah,
it's much different when you're when your feet, you know, you depend on them to hold up that much body mass.
Yeah, really.
It's an issue.
Yeah. And one more thing I wanted to say is that there will be an adjustment period for the team also trying to reintegrate him into the offense.
Well, integrate, not reintegrate.
Integrate, yeah, sorry. Not like we're not to the scale we're seeing it with the Celtics, but it'll still be there for the Warriors. I don't think it'll take long though.
Yeah.
Because the Warriors are already a well-oiled machine, you know. They've been playing with each other for years now.
Oh yeah.
2 or 3 years. I was going to say something else, but I can't remember what it was. Oh, yeah. Shout out to Steph Curry for getting third all-time on the three-pointers made list.
Right.
And
Isn't Kyle Korver like fourth now?
Yeah.
That was a weird thing to see. I was like, wait, really?
Yeah. And then Steph recently had the game with 11 threes and a game with 10 threes.
Right.
One against Sacramento, one against Dallas, both on the road. Clutch,
but we just
shots.
Ignore it because we're like, oh, that's just Steph.
It's just Steph.
It's just Steph.
Nothing
Nothing
to see here. But I just want to give a shout out to this man because he's been playing out of his mind. Like, not even a conversation who the best point guard in the league is, if you ask me. This man is just on another level. Like,
right.
If like I saw the stat, it was like he's had double-digit games of double-digit threes made, and the rest of the NBA history has like 4 or 5, some crazy number.
No, yeah, he's a record-breaking machine.
Yeah, greatest shooter of all time, not even a debate. Just it's not.
Speaking of which, I think Harden with that 57 game,
he broke Kobe's record for most 30-point games in a row. Something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that hasn't been done since like the ABA and NBA merger back in the day. Like,
wow.
Wilt Chamberlain did it like 4 separate times with like 40-something games. Wilt Chamberlain was just a ridiculous athlete, and he was playing against much different style of plays than today. But anyway, that's off topic. But I just wanted to give a quick nod to Steph Curry for doing Steph things. Like watching him play, watching Warriors games, because like every now and again I'll watch a game just to watch Steph, and then I just watch good teams a lot. I like to watch games all the time, obviously. So whenever there's a Warriors game on that they're playing a decent team or really a scrub team, sometimes I'll watch it anyway.
Right.
But because I know there's a chance I'm going to witness something crazy, by whoever. But yeah, I just wanted to give a nod to Steph because he's one of my favorite players and he's been killing it this season. Unfortunately, not enough to win MVP because it looks like Harden's run away with that.
Right. It seems so far, but
yeah,
you know,
I mean,
again,
Giannis is still the number 2, arguably number 1 because of like record and whatnot. But I think it's hard for me to see Harden not winning it this year.
If you look at the most valuable player on a single team
and what he's done,
right? Come on, it's got to be at least right now.
He's averaging like 34 points a game, maybe 35 now.
Ridiculous.
Something ridiculous, which hasn't been done in a long time. Since Kobe, I think.
Yeah,
maybe
more Kobe.
Maybe I could be wrong. I don't really know how many points per game players have averaged over the last whatever.
Right.
I just know it's been a while.
That's
since
the hard thing. I try to do that
30.
all the time. Is just pull stats out of our butt and try to figure out like.
I know Steph averaged 30.1 in his 2016 MVP season, and I think that was the last 30-point per game season. I could be wrong about that, but I'm not exactly sure. Anyways, you got anything else about about DeMarcus Cousins?
No, I think it's we'll just wait and see how he fits into the to the whole.
It's gonna be
what'd you call it, a well-oiled
machine. Once we see him play, then we'll have stuff to talk about. It's kind of hard to like predict what's gonna happen. I hope I'm not wrong.
Yeah, I hope next week it's gonna be DeMarcus Cousins fitting well with the Warriors. I hope that's what we're gonna be talking about.
He's DeMarcus Cousins. You never know. I've heard he has a track record of locker room drama. Not with the Pelicans, but with the Kings. But that was a completely different scenario. I think some of that might have been unfair, but we'll see what happens. I've been wrong a lot this year about things that I've predicted, but then again, everybody usually is. No one predicts everything perfectly, so and that's what these are for, like you said earlier. Yeah. All right. So, do we want to mention Enes Kanter's?
Of course, we have to.
Okay.
There's no way we can't.
So this dude had a cheat day, and he ate 7 burgers and
cheat day times 10.
Yeah, a ton of fries, and he missed a practice in a game because of sickness from this cheat day. And you said earlier, like, is that a normal cheat day for him?
Right.
Like 7 burgers,
right,
and fries.
Burgers, fries. He had more than just the burgers and fries.
Yeah, there's no way that's a normal cheat day. Like, I think he just did that for social media.
No, yeah, he just flexed on the gram how much he's eating for his cheat day.
Yeah.
And then just he'll never do that again.
No, probably not.
At least post it on social media.
Yeah, I would get sick after just 2 or 3.
Right, same. Yeah.
And then he goes and eats all that. I don't know if he finished it. The world may never know, right? But why would you do that to yourself? If you're a professional athlete who doesn't eat like that, and then all of a sudden you put all this crap in your body, what did you expect? You missed a game and a practice because of that. That's a check.
When your stomach checks you.
That's hilarious, man. Like, how do you do that to yourself, I wonder if he ate it all.
We gotta ask. We gotta get him.
Somebody's gotta ask.
My God,
that'd be hilarious. Somebody's gotta ask him. Speaking of former Thunder players, Nick Collison is getting his number 4 jersey retired, and that is the first retired number in Thunder history. I mean, granted, they've only been around for like 14 years, something like that, 15 years, because Russ was drafted there in 2008. So this is interesting. This is a role player who averaged like 5 points per game for his career, and I get he was a mentor to Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook and whatnot during their uprising. But retire his jersey though? As a role player who didn't even average double digits?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, again, we're on the outside looking in.
Right, yeah.
And
he's meant a lot for the organization.
Yeah, I think that's...
So I get it from that
That's
standpoint.
Like 99% of the reason why they're doing this
for
is
sure.
Because he just meant a lot to the organization.
And he played his whole career, with the Sonics/Thunder.
Right,
so
right. And
it's more for his, loyalty, of course, and then what he meant to the franchise and mentoring their young stars and whatnot. So I get all that. It's just... I feel like there's a better way to honor him than having like.
Do you think just like a tribute video?
That wouldn't be enough. But
what do you think a good middle ground would be?
Retiring his jersey seems a little much to me.
It definitely seems excessive.
I just don't know what else you could like.
I don't want to tell a professional athlete athlete that he doesn't deserve something.
Right. Especially if it's the organization's decision. Statue would be too much.
That'd be funny if they did like a Nick
retired jersey
statue.
Retired jersey.
of all the things like Russ, KD, and other players.
I can't think of something of middle ground between tribute video and retired jersey.
Right.
Maybe hiring him as an executive.
Right. Yeah.
But then again, not everybody wants that job. So I understand it. It's just it seems excessive, but I don't know what other alternative there is. I just feel like you should retire.
Do you think that's the conversation that happened? It's like, I guess we kind of have to retire.
What else can we do, you know?
Tribute video would be kind of rude because he did a lot for the organization, but at
and
the same time,
he's not even an active player, you know? So
right.
When do you run the tribute video? So what do you do?
You're kind of...
It's just an acknowledgement, like, thank you for everything you did, not only for the team, but for the community and the city and all that stuff.
And I do think it's pretty cool. Like you said, you know, he was a mentor to KD and those people. But
Russ, yeah.
Maybe that's the sentiment they're trying to show, is that he was very foundational for the beginning of that franchise.
Yeah, for when they were on the rise as contenders. Yeah, they still are, but completely different scenarios.
Yeah, but different era. I think that's a different era.
Yeah, it's still the modern era, but different. Playstyle was definitely different a couple of years ago, like 6 years ago, whatever.
Most definitely.
But yeah, I mean, I get it. It's just, there's, like I keep saying, there's no middle ground. Like, that seems excessive, but also it's a great acknowledgement for what he meant to the city and the organization. So I understand that. It's just, I feel like this is the first time a player like that has gotten their jersey retired. I could be wrong. Like, who
I actually want to look this up. I want to look up like the most ridiculous
retired jerseys.
Yeah.
Yeah, look that up and let me know what you find. I'm looking up Nick Collison's stats right now because I looked at him the other day, and I wasn't impressed. You know, yeah, he averaged 6 points for his career.
Top 5 worst retired numbers. Okay, let's check this out.
Yeah.
What we got?
Who's number 1, and then we'll gauge it from there.
Okay.
Let me see this. You know, maybe I was wrong. Well, Pete Maravich? That's understandable.
Right.
I mean, the gap from Pete Maravich to Nick Collison. That's Pistol Pete.
There's some other ones like
who else?
Nate
is on
McMillan, Brad Davis from the Mavericks.
Okay, so maybe this isn't the worst retired.
Not the worst, but still questionable.
It's not like he was a star player. You know, star player. This is a weird case. We've talked about it.
It'd be like
I get it.
That'd be like the Knicks retiring Ron Baker's jersey just because they like them that much.
That's hilarious, man. Let's see, or like the Heat retiring maybe Udonis Haslem because he's been there forever. Maybe that. Even still, I feel like Udonis Haslem did more for the Heat than Nick Collison did for.
How much can we debate this until we find a middle ground?
As far as on-court contributions, I don't know. It's kind of a slippery slope, but it's respect. I respect the Thunder organization for doing that. Right. I just feel like Russell Westbrook should have been the first Thunder player to have their jersey retired. If not Westbrook, then KD. But that's also a double-edged sword because KD stabbed y'all in the back, but at the same time, he did so much for the city and the organization. So you know. It's interesting. I feel like
that would be so funny if they retired Nick Collison's and not KD's just because of that.
I feel like someday KD's number will hang in the rafters.
Once the dust settles,
it'll hang in Golden State.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, most definitely.
As long as he stays there. For
I don't know about a 3-person statue. KD, chill out. But
and it should hang in OKC. It's just I feel like the organization won't forgive him for leaving. But that's a petty thing to do.
Right.
But once the dust settles, like you said, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe
I think
they'll get
time
there.
Passes.
Yeah, time can heal wounds.
Right.
You know, so I guess we'll see. You got anything else on that? We kind of spurred off from the Kanter.
But it's a fun topic.
Yeah,
just talking about is like, do certain players deserve a retired number or a certain tribute?
But I
going back to the whole Austin Rivers thing.
Can you imagine getting a tribute video for doing nothing? That's crazy. That's crazy to me, man. Like, I'm sure he contributed here and there, but it's not like he was some player deserving of a
Like, I
tribute.
saw Tony Parker's tribute video when he came back to San Antonio, and that was beautiful.
That was deserved, obviously.
That was
yeah,
awesome.
Four-time champion, one of the best players in Spurs history.
Right,
you know?
and the players, even San Antonio, they were clapping for him. Like that.
Yeah, of course.
That stadium was.
Yeah, he's one of the most iconic Spurs players, ever.
Right.
So, part of the winning culture that team had established for years and years.
Right.
It's an interesting thing. But you got anything else on that?
No, I think we debated just about every aspect of
jersey
deserved.
retirement. We've got two little things here. This is a small topic. The Bulls gave Jim Boylen a raise after getting blown out by 40 points to the Warriors. This is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. This is not deserved at all. Jim Boylen cannot, from what I've seen, can't coach the Bulls, can't run an offense around young players. Like, they should be pushing the ball, running, but they're not. And it's just not working. And I don't know why they would give him a raise after getting blown out by 40. Like, this is going to extend into next season. But if I were the Bulls, I would try to hire a decent coach.
Yeah.
There's some available.
I just don't understand this.
I wouldn't hire Thibodeau, though. Would not do that.
No. Wouldn't that be funny?
If they hire him again after firing him, and then the Timberwolves hire
Tim.
Or not Tim, how's his name? Why am I drawing a blank here? I have his Fred Hoiberg.
Yeah, Fred
Yeah,
Hoiberg.
and then that would be hilarious if they both went back to their old team.
It's like that
after being fired for each other.
It's like that one meme where it's like the two Spider-Man pointing at each other.
Yeah, really. That's hilarious. When Tibbs and Fred Hoiberg meet again. That's hilarious. Yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there because I don't think that was a good choice.
I don't think anyone should think that's a good choice other than Jim Boylen.
Man. And there was the thing about him kept repeating, like, I worked with Popovich, and the players were like, but you're not Greg Popovich.
You ain't Greg. You ain't Popovich.
That's so funny.
What was it? You ain't Pop?
Something like that. That's so funny to me, man. It still hasn't come out who that was that said that. I don't know if it ever will, but still, that's hilarious. And then the last little thing here is the Mavs are looking to trade Dennis Smith Jr. Apparently the Suns and the Magic are interested, and he sat out the last 3 games with a sore back, which is what they're calling it. But that's just an excuse not to play him because they're going to trade him soon. Let me read this ESPN article because there was a couple interesting little things in here. So Dallas has sat Smith for 3 straight games with what the franchise has termed a sore back, but there's motivation with the organization and Smith Jr. to find a new home for him, league sources said. Coach Rick Carlisle and Smith have struggled to find common ground. The arrival of Rookie of the Year favorite Luka Doncic has pushed Smith off the ball and changed the trajectory of his role with the team. And so not only has Rick Carlisle been frustrated with Dennis Smith's decision-making, but Luka Doncic has also changed the trajectory of not only the franchise.
He's changed the whole dynamic of this franchise.
Not only that, but he's also pushed Dennis Smith kind of to the side.
Unintentionally,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
But
And then it says, while Doncic and Smith have built a good personal relationship, the results haven't been good with them playing together on the floor. So basically, then there's a stat that basically just shows Doncic is better with other members of the team on the floor at the same time as him than with Dennis Smith. So, I mean, Dennis Smith hasn't been the most efficient player from his rookie to sophomore season.
Right.
He's still a decent young guard that I think could definitely develop into not a great player, but a good player.
What team do you think could use a Dennis Smith Jr.?
Definitely the Suns, because they need a point guard. Dennis Smith and Devin Booker, I think that'd be pretty good. I think Dennis Smith just needs a new situation and new organization and team to be on, because like I said about the Luka Doncic thing, that's kind of squandered his sophomore progression from his rookie year, I think, with the arrival of Luka. So it's a shame it didn't work out, but I feel like if he goes to a new team, he'll start to show signs of becoming a good player. Not that he's bad. I think he's still a quality piece to have, but becoming, who we think, what we expected him to be.
Develop as everyone thought he would.
Yeah, develop into a good player. Real. I don't want to say great because it's too early to call him that type of thing, but because he hasn't shown that potential yet. But he's definitely a tremendous athlete and has the potential to be pretty good
There's
player.
very
so
few people I've seen with a launch pad like Dennis Smith.
That's
Jr.
great. Yeah, I mean, 2 points are 2 points, right? It's about he's got to work on his shot and being more efficient. And
Yeah.
the assist numbers got to get up and that kind of thing. But like I said, I feel like we would have seen the jump made this year if it wasn't for Luka.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to see, who he gets traded to. Teams that need a point guard like the Magic and the Suns, I can definitely see it working out with that. Him, taking those next steps. So we'll just have to see what happens. What do you think about that whole thing with Luka and him, like his season kind of being not overshadowed, but I used the word squandered earlier. I don't know if that was the right term, but I feel like the progression we would have seen has kind of been taken away because of Luka. What do you think about that? Like, do you agree with that, or do you have a different take?
I don't know if it was exactly squandered, maybe a little overshadowed. I do think Luka has taken up a lot of, that star power that.
Yeah, and there's no doubt
year.
he's a better player.
Yeah, off rip, Luka looks like an all-star.
I would not be mad. Like, I didn't choose him to be an all-star in my picks, but I would not be surprised or mad if he was like a wild card or even a reserve. I wouldn't be mad at it.
Me neither, man.
Because he's amazing. There's no way around it.
So good.
Yeah, but I guess we'll just have to see where Dennis
shed an Atlanta tear.
I mean, the only reason I'm not mad about this is because Trae Young has shown that he's going to be one of the great point guards in the future.
And everyone's pitting them against each other. And the thing is, they're both such nice dudes. To do that to each other is so mean.
And they're both really good. I mean, obviously Luka's better at this point, but Trae Young's passing is borderline elite.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the shooting percentages aren't quite there yet, but lately they've been better, and he's just a great young player. They're both great young players.
Right. You can see the potential
in both.
Just like you could see the potential in Steph Curry. He wasn't the Steph we see now.
Yeah, it's going to take years for this stuff to happen, but Luka looks like already like this dude's a problem.
Oh,
so
this dude is a problem. He has the whitest step back I've ever seen, but God, he just drains it. It's the crazy.
Yeah,
I'm sorry I describe it that way, but it is. Have you ever?
I've seen it. Yeah, of course I've seen it.
I don't know how he gets balanced like that, because like the amount of length that he covers with that step back is a lot. It's not like a Harden step back where it's kind of 2 to 3, 2.5 steps back.
Yeah, right. The other reason I'm not mad at the Hawks for trading him is because I like Trae Young, obviously, like I just said about him. I like John Collins. I like Taurean Prince. I feel like the Hawks, and we're gonna have probably Mavericks pick, and the Hawks are gonna have their own pick. I said we because we live in Atlanta, we're Hawks fans, whatever. That's why I'm not mad at this. Even though Luka's super great, I feel like the Hawks have a really bright future in Trae Young and John Collins, and then whoever we end up drafting, plus Taurean Prince. I mean,
it's just hope everyone stays healthy.
Looks like a bright future for both teams.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not mad at this. If we had like drafted, I don't know, there's not a whole lot of scrubs from the draft, but who were high picks. But say we ended up with you remember all the hype around Lonzo Ball? Mm-hmm. Like Trae Young was hyped up too, but the hype has actually translated pretty good a bit to the NBA. But say Trae Young turned out to be like Lonzo Ball, where he didn't even average double figures and the passing was cool and whatnot. But I'd be mad then, because then we wouldn't I would take Trae Young over Lonzo Ball any day.
You think so?
I would take him over Dennis Smith Jr. I'd take him. I wouldn't say De'Aaron Fox, but De'Aaron Fox has another whole season of experience. But there's some players I would definitely take Trae Young over now.
Yeah.
But I forgot where I was going with that. Basically, if we had drafted I don't want to say a bust, but somebody who didn't meet our expectations, then I'd be mad. But I'm not, because that hasn't been the case. So.
Anyways, as far as the chemistry between Dennis Smith Jr. and Luka being on the floor at the same time, and the chemistry of just being in the franchise in general.
Yeah.
So Suns or Magic? Do you think there's any dark horse that would take them?
Just any team that could use a young starting point guard, and those are really the two standouts.
Right. I'm trying to think. If the thing was, if the whole Austin Rivers thing didn't happen for the Rockets earlier, and it didn't work out as well as it has so far, then
Yeah.
maybe that would have been a perfect fit. But
Yeah.
you know, they don't really need that right now.
I forgot to mention Kevin Herter, by the way, for the Hawks.
Oh,
That young man can shoot that ball. And
Yes,
he's really
he can.
good. Anyway, that is completely off topic, but I agree with what you're saying. I was trying to think of another team too. Just any young team that could use a starting 2-guard or point guard.
Right.
You know, the ones that jump out at me are the Suns and the Mavericks, because you can't run Devin Booker at the point. He's a natural shooting guard.
Yeah.
So you can run him at the point, but that's not what he's cut out to play, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
But you got any other thoughts?
Nah.
I think
I think I'm good.
Yeah, I think the sore back thing was pretty funny.
That is
They're
funny.
making up an injury to sit him,
Yeah.
so they're going to trade him soon. But he's questionable for tonight. If they play him tonight, that'd be kind of weird. After all the trade rumors, and things that Woj has reported, I'd set him aside until further notice.
Right.
If I were them, until they trade him at least. You know, obviously. So I think that's going to do it for today, though. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did enjoy, and subscribe for more, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
All right.
Peace.
Later.